Hi, Anti-Society! Welcome back to the Antisocial Planet, and today we are checking out Dreamcatcher's Summer Holiday album. Ignore the fact that my background is definitely not in season, at least given the title of this particular album. However, I'm very excited for this because it's been just like living in my brain for so long that I'm very excited to see what the rest of this album has for me, especially since people have hinted that lyrically there's some interesting story stuff going on. I always love finding some kind of overarching story to an album, so I'm excited to get to dig some more into that. And you guys know the drill. Get yourself a drink, get yourself a snack, settle in, because we're gonna be here a minute, all right? And we're gonna just jump into the intro because they're always so good. I love that they're consistently part of the album experience. Here we go. I guess Holiday, that's kind of on theme, not summery. I'm filming this, but I like how there's like the water design. That's cool. Okay. Acoustic guitar. And like ambient sounds. It sounded like a shop bell. I love the little like xylophone almost thing. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, for one, the I like you sample being there, going into 'cause I like you, bringing that in. Love that. The pulling that forward into this. Second, having the ambient sounds like the real world sounds of the shop bell, and then these steps kind of creaking on this floor because it has this almost like serene sound to it. And then we shift in the tonality. Bass is incredible. Love me a good bass. Loving that here. There was like a weird spinner thing sound in there as well. Love the strings coming in. Again, the little almost like xylophone clinking little sounds, and the most like shifting as the soundscape shifts. Interesting, especially with what Because is about having a facade or like a persona that is what is on the outside, and then underneath that there's something darker, right? Even going into the music video, if they're being like doppelgangers, right, where you think that the person that you're looking at is like friend, they turn out to be foe in disguise, right? Interesting to start off with something that sounds very mundane and light and almost has this, I don't know, charm to it. It makes me think of a small shop that you're going into and browsing around, something that is very quaint, and then having that shift in the soundscape of there being something darker underneath all of that. I like that it's like has this funky pocket that it's in. Like it's not rushed. Ooh, almost like the one like synth that's in it almost gives me 70s. I just said funk, but yeah, it's giving me retro 70s vibes to the way that almost like disco, the specific synth that they're using there. And oh, I had another thought about other stuff going on. There's another instrument. Oh, the almost like music box. Really interesting mixture of sounds. Ooh, interesting. Especially since, for one, that doesn't have a rock sound to it. A lot of their intros tend to, at some point, shift into more of the rock sound that we're going to get at some point. So that makes me interested to know where we're going to get in terms of the musical influence on this album. It's a special mini album. It's its own thing, this liminal space in between different story arcs in their discography, which I think is really interesting. So we could deviate quite a bit in terms of what we're sonically getting, playing around with the sound a little bit more. They've been very playful with the kinds of production that they've been doing, which I love. Every album, there's something in the production that surprises me. I'm just here to talk about my ultimate bias, the production team. It wouldn't be a Dreamcatcher reaction if I wasn't gushing over the production team. But it does make me think that maybe we were getting into some other sounds, like again, funk, more retro 70s feeling to it. It could also be they're mixing in the almost like music box sound, and we had this feeling of almost like marionettes in the choreo for Because. So it's like this mixture of almost these like sinister bits of production mixed with something that feels very grounded. And I love how it has a bit of a slower pace to it, because there is something like almost like creeping about the whole thing. Because is a very unrushed person, right? Because they know that they have control over the situation. They know that this person isn't going to escape their grasps, right? So having an intro that feels very confident and measured, there's lots of heavy bass, heavy percussion. It feels like there's a steady pace, almost unrushed feeling, even the footsteps at the beginning of the intro. Interesting. I'm fascinated about where this album is going to go, because I think because it's more of a standalone thing, there's a chance for it to deviate a lot more. It's always going to be good. Okay, the lighter aesthetic in the pictures gives me hope that maybe we're going to have a little bit of a lighter tone. Airplane sounds perhaps optimistic. Freedom, travel, being in the sky is usually a symbol within Dreamcatcher lore of being in a place of freedom and comfort and feeling connected to oneself, right? We've had stuff in the previous album about going above everything and getting to like where the stars in the universe are. So maybe, I don't know. Ooh, that's an interesting guitar. I beg your pardon? Stop. Everyone, not to interrupt you, Gahyun. I apologize. I don't even know what the filter on that guitar is, but fun. Okay. It seems like we are doing some kind of like freedom or like escaping or getting away from everything. A bit celebratory, perhaps, which I think is interesting, especially again, given the context of some of when the albums came out, right? This album coming out at a time when things felt more as if things were settling down in the world, of not being in this constant back and forth with lockdowns and restrictions on things. So that could be part of it as well. Feels summery, summer holiday, feels very optimistic. That note that Sue just threw out there, and they're like, I'm also gonna give you Dami vocals. And they're not the like really light falsetto ones that she usually has. She's got some good closure on them, and I'm just like, hang on, hold up. Okay. Also the like flying high, call back again. All right, sure. Little guitar to the side. Like everywhere is fine. Nice. No, I know you're getting into the chorus and all that, but that wind down for this drop. Also, okay, we got Summer Vacation literally put into that. So Summer Vacation, Summer Holiday. Also, All Day is part of the title of one of their songs as well. So maybe we'll loop back to some stuff. All day long, right? I'm sorry, not to interrupt, getting a little funky guitar here, but Miss Xian, I beg your pardon. I love that this is like a celebratory, fun, summery song. I don't know if we've had fun songs. We've had some nasty beat drops of just like very like EDM. We've had fun, uplifting songs from them, but I don't think I've ever heard something that felt this like pop summery from them. This just feels like a fun dance celebration of the freedom and like victory of getting past everything, right? And I think part of that is just within the context of when this album came out, like I was saying. But if we're also putting some kind of storyline to this, going off of because it almost feels like a escape from that restriction, right? We had images in the actual MV for because of the cage, the bird cage, right? So birds, when they're not caged, they can fly, right? They can fly up in the sky. They can be part of that open air. So it's almost like escaping from that. Will we succeed? I don't know. They like to give me ominous, sometimes dark endings to stories. So I guess we'll find out, but she hadn't given me that vocal slide. And that like really like light airy sound in there too. Ma'am. Ooh. I'm sorry. I immediately have to go back and hear that. Maybe just a little hello. Ooh, like it's just, they've got these wonderful descending notes in the melodies. I also love just all of the bright sounds from like their vocals, and then they get those like descending, they get nice rich darker tone to some of them as well. Like I was talking about Xiang before, Sua here. Love the let's go to the warm dream, right? Bringing in that dream imagery again, and like this escape, like going to this island, going to this place that is still like separate but together and sunny and warm and bright, which is very much, I feel like, in contrast to a lot of the images that we've had before from Dreamcatcher of the kind of escape that they tend to talk about in their songs of let's go to this place separate from everything. So that's interesting too. Again, I feel like this is more just like a fun kind of victory of everything happening. Them talking about being together and playing music and having fun. And it feels very much of a, yes, we finally get to go out and play shows and do things like that. So I'm interested to know if like, narratively, as we get into some of the other songs, how I'm going to work this in. It'll be like the problem child of me putting together a narrative, because this immediately after because and the tone and subject matter of that is fascinating to me. Putting those back to back. I would expect this closer to the end of the album, but I'll have to see how the other songs turn out. Really interesting percussion choices. Ooh, a little call response. I heard that ad lib. I bet this is super fun live too. I also look at just her, she on there, her voice is so good, but also the it's okay to be awkward after everything that's gone on, and especially if they were doing stuff with fans again, I'm sure that they were also like, it's okay to be awkward, because like when was the last time they did a concert in front of an actual live audience? What was the last time they got to do fan meets? When was the last time they got to do interviews like in person, do like normal promotional circuits, right? Like even just like broadcasts, right? Like it must have been a little overwhelming to do everything for everyone, right? Like not just Dreamcatcher, like all of the groups, every person everywhere, not just the music industry, trying to figure out how to like transition back into doing things in the normal way or the way that they used to be, instead of like getting used to what it was like to go through lockdown stuff. It's a cute little thing to be like, it's okay to be awkward. And that's where the vocal melody plays around a lot more. There's those higher airy falsetto parts, and then descending back down, there's this feeling of almost waves or turbulence to it, which is a nice way of having it accent that line. Down. Ooh, shivers from that. I didn't get to finish my thought. I was like, I got shivers from the harmony there. And then you gotta switch up all the production and give me Everybody calm down. Woo. That higher like ad-lib? The guitars on this are so good. Oh, we're just gonna play out? That was so much fun. I love the production was really interesting on that. Again, bringing in some of those funky guitar riffs that we got in the intro. Love the vocal slides they're putting in, those descending notes in the melodies. I love that we're getting some bright sounds from some of the vocals that are usually a bit more on the airy side. Thami and Tio getting a little bit more closure on there. So usually a lot more breathier with their vocals. So I like getting to hear some of that closure coming through with that. Just gorgeous harmonies going in there too. Just fun little production things. Again, nice to have a little summer bop from Dreamcatcher of all things. I think this just adds to the list of times when Dreamcatcher is like, oh yeah, no, we do rock music because we like it, not because we can't do other genres. We could if we wanted to. And here's a little sample of us being able to do whatever genre we want. We like rock though. That was fun. I'm excited to see how the rest of the album works together though. Because and Airplane, very different vibes, like polar opposites in a lot of ways. I feel it almost because it's one of their darker songs. I don't know if it's the darkest, maybe content wise, but this being a much brighter song, this has a sunny, summery feeling to it. So it's really interesting to have those two songs back to back in the way that they arranged the album. So I'm excited to see how the other songs pull everything together, because I'm not getting a narrative yet. Doesn't mean there has to be one, doesn't mean there was intended to be one, but I would like there to be one because it's fun that way. Okay, well, the picture choices are looking darker, so that makes me feel like we might be getting into some darker concepts, perhaps. I don't know. We were just having a summer bop. What are we doing now? Can you stay with me? Ooh. So it's gonna be like that, huh? Okay. I feel like we are getting like a little bit of we're not quite in the summery vibes as we were before. Love the heavy filter on the vocals because it's almost like there's barrier between them and who they're talking to, because they're literally saying, would you stay for me? Whistle signal in a way so that I know that you're there or that we can reconnect with each other, right? Because a lot of the time you'll use a whistle as a signal to someone so that they can find you. I'm thinking of survival things, a way of regrouping with someone, right? So having the heavy filter on it feels like there's literally a barrier. It almost feels underwater, which I think is interesting given the previous song where they were talking about being on an island and blue magic, and blue could be the sky, could also be water in the artwork for the album. So I just think it's interesting, even like lyrical stuff in the albums before this, talking about being adrift on like choppy waters and things like that. So interesting to almost have this feeling of being underwater through the like filter of their vocals. But that like whistle synth thing that they got going on and the guitars coming in, it's almost like acoustic layered with an electric. Yeah, not an electric, but there's like a shaker. A little flip up in her voice. Okay, look, I know whenever they put Xian and Yuan back to back at the beginning of a verse, we're in for it. But the sand, so again, beach and island, like we were talking before, so it's almost like we had a moment of reprieve, of celebration, of escape and now we're lost at sea again, perhaps? We had the waves before. Yoon's a little vocal run though. It's just like all like beat pad and like the synth. Look, Tommy's sorry, not to interrupt. Love Gayan's voice there. Her tone. Ooh, I love how it all pulls back for that pre-chorus. I also love that we're getting lots of Dami vocals that are like more on the full closure, because I know in the next album she has her solo where she gets into a nice almost like deeper tone of her voice with singing, which is really great. There's a very clear contrast in earlier albums of her rapper voice and her singing voice, and it's interesting to see a bit of a bridge between those two moments. But I think interesting to want to be in talking about being in someone's arms then as if possessed by your eyes is interesting. Again, if we're going back to because and losing yourself in someone, and again, possession was a huge thing, and there's lots of lyrical content in that song that feels possessive of the other person in the relationship. Even using cycle instead of heartbeat or any other verbiage for your heart picking up speed, getting faster. So saying cycle being a cyclical action is interesting as well. And like how much of this is, if we're doing the narrative stuff, how much of this is coming back to the person who is controlling the toxic relationship? Is this still from the perspective of that person who is toxic in the relationship and it's like first meet cute, or still in kind of the hopeful phase of a relationship, like either side of it? Or is it losing yourself in it again? Or is it like finding the escape, right? It feels almost like, hey, we had a moment in Airplane of an escape, finding that happiness, that brightness, having this carefree moment, holiday moment, and now the darkness is starting to creep in again, and I want to go back to that moment, like the warmth in the sand and being in your arms and the waves and stuff like that. So interesting. The pace of this though, and then everything slows down. Like stay in my arms, like wanting to hold on to something. Dude. Did we just launch immediately? I need everybody to calm down. I'm sorry. The pace of the song is crazy. It just is constantly moving forward. There's such a rushing to so much of this song, almost like a frantic feeling. And then everything slows down in the pre-chorus. And then Ju coming in with that upper register mix and just piercing my heart with those upper notes. But it does have this feeling of there's so much energy to this song that it does have this almost frantic, chaotic feeling of like desperation of being like, how do I get out of this? And even having the higher register, and what I'm assuming is the chorus, again, whistle, right? So we're getting up into the higher frequency of signaling to someone of, if I just keep running and searching and you signal for me, maybe I can find you again. Maybe we can come back to this snapshot of us having this peaceful moment of getting to be on this island, this submarine island, isolated but with each other, and the like quiet and solitude, and being able to leave behind any kind of issues or worries that we had, right? Even in Airplane, talking about like my like luggage, a storage of memories or something, I still have to carry that baggage with me, but it's not going to affect me in the same way as it would going about my normal everyday to day life. I get to still escape into something else, and we get like a lower register going into what I'm assuming is the next verse. We have the cosmic imagery again. Love that choppy delivery. I'm sorry, Sua. You can't give me that deeper register, thank you. Unacceptable. Having a lot of fun with the beat pad on this one. Interesting. But like time passes by too fast. Again, this frantic energy to the song is really interesting because saying like time passes too fast, like I want to go back to this previous time. I want to hold on to something that I had and is now gone. And you can't like quite capture the same essence, right? Like you can remember a wonderful moment. You can remember this time of like joy and peace and being with somebody that you care about, but you can't go back to that exact moment and feel that exact sensation again. So it's like this frantic feeling of almost like everything's rushing around you too much, but also like you're trying to keep up with it or trying to like, I don't know, accommodate for that rushing around. Oh, that almost like glitch sound with the love repeated. I don't know what it is about Gayan's voice on this, but dang, her tone? Gorgeous. Maybe it's because it's like she's in a bit of her lower range, but you gotta know. The like belt there? Everybody calm down. There's so much happening in this. Production wise too, like I was saying, they're playing around a lot with the beat pad. There's so many different samples. It feels like every time the part changes, they're bringing in like a different synth sample, again, like adding to this frantic energy. It's not just like BPM wise. It's not just like the overall pacing of the verses. It's like they keep incorporating new elements into it. So it's creating this almost like fractured feeling, but also it makes it difficult to get your footing, which I think is really interesting because there is this kind of frantic, or I don't know, wanting to be in a different place in a different time. Lots of images in the lyrics too, a bit light. We have the starlight, we have shines, we had the died in the sunset, your eyes make it easier or something. So there's lots of that. And then getting into the sleep again, we have the mist imagery coming back, which we've had in previous songs of being obscured in mist and trying to find your way through that. Interesting too is we've had lots of songs about being lost and trying to reach out to someone and grab their hand, but you can't like actually get to them, like even to the point where there are music videos where they have like physical barriers between them, even though they can't see them, but there's like the invisible barrier there. So it almost feels similar kind of through line into this. The pacing of this song though, my brain is just like trying to keep up with it. This really constant beat throughout it. Sian. Nah, because you can't have Xian hit that note and then have Yuyan come in with her light angelic vocals that snatch my soul every time. And then you can't have a lyric about hands after I just said, like other times when they've talked about being obscured and missed and they want a hand to reach out to them and help them. What is this song, y'all? I feel like it's gonna be one of the songs I listen to when I need to, like a workout song. I feel like this would help with that because you get those little moments of slowdown, but then again, like BPM for the rest of it, it's like... A little rundown from Sua. Ooh, I almost love like the cutoff there too. There doesn't have this firm feeling of conclusion at the end of it either. Also love that we ended on a Gaihyun vocal because I was saying throughout it, I'm like, there's something about her tone in this that's just gorgeous. Interesting to have this like, very different songs, all of them. The three that we've heard so far, not counting the intro, because Airplane, Whistle, drastically different feelings, right? Not just in terms of like sonically and the overall vibe of the song, but it makes me feel different listening to these songs. There's this chaos to it, which I feel like if we're going to be pulling a storyline from Because all the way through, that is what it feels to be in an unstable toxic relationship, right? I talked about how the unpredictability of the toxic person in that relationship is part of what keeps that person in control, because if you never know what the other person is going to do, you're never going to know what's going to set them off or what's going to placate them. Like you're constantly trying to find your footing and comply with what they want because you don't want some kind of like outburst of emotion. Like you have no idea how they're going to be from one moment to the next, not with like certainty. So having this chaotic feeling to all of it is almost like sometimes it's great, sometimes it's a vacation, sometimes it's sunny and wonderful and happy and has this celebratory feeling, and sometimes there's this frantic rushing around of, wait, hang on, where did that feeling go? Where did that emotion of feeling like secure and happy and optimistic, like where's that emotion? I even talked about that, and because of a lot of the time that people keep coming back to those relationships is because it was good once. There was a time when it made sense to love that person, and you keep coming back because you think maybe this time that will be the feeling again. Maybe this time it will be the person that I loved. And it's just like really interesting so far that like very different feelings sonically, a lot of electronic sounds coming through, definitely not leaning as much into the rock vibes as some of their other albums, but again, having a lot of fun from the production team, having a lot of fun on this, which I'm always stoked for, to see them do lots of different things. Again, love the whistle sample through this. They have a very steady beat throughout the whole thing, which is really interesting because there's so many other elements that were coming in. I feel like I'm gonna have to listen to the song so many times to just pick out like all of the different layers of synths and electronic samples that they were putting into this. Love all the deeper, darker tones that we were getting from their vocals, especially in contrast to the song before this with Airplane, of talking about them having more of a brighter sound. Gorgeous tones from a lot of people in this. Shivers multiple times because of it. Wow. I feel like that's something I'm going to have to sit with for a while. I'm going to have to pull apart more layers in a way that I can't really on a first listen, but yeah, just like a frantic feeling to it in these moments of things slowing down and being able to reflect a little bit before rushing back into things. Fascinating. Okay, we have the bright pictures again, so that makes me a little more optimistic about All Day Long. And if I remember correctly, and I might be wrong, from what people have told me in comments, Gio helped write this song. And usually when she's writing on them, it gets me in my feels. It kind of feels like somebody patting my head and telling me I did a good job. And sometimes that gets me a little too much. But maybe it'll be bright and optimistic? Ooh. I love the guitars in this. Oh, that bass though. Oh, I'm already in love. That reverb was interesting. Why do I already feel like crying? What? Okay, for one, the bass is incredible. Two, is it like city pop? I'm not good with genres. I don't pay attention enough. I'm just like, I like this song. It good. I don't pay attention enough to genres to know the difference, the lines between them. But it feels like that. Love the little bit of reverb that we have on the vocals. It just adds the tiniest little bit of echo to it. It just softens it a little bit. It feels soft around the edges. I need Yuyan to not go into her light falsetto voice ever, because it just, again, every time snatches my soul. She has like this vibrato, and she already owns my soul. Okay, she doesn't need to prove it on a regular basis. You know what I mean? Fine. But you might comfort my world. Bring in some brass. I'm gonna cry during this, and it's not even like a sentimental ballad. They're just so sweet. Like, we have the moon imagery. You might comfort my world, just like, but Dami with that light vocal coming in, and it feels like it feels like a retro sound to it with the brass coming in. We've had lots of funk sounds coming in 70s, and then having this that feels like it should be, I don't know, like an opener to a television show. We should have like different credits rolling during this. Sua too, with that falsetto. I don't know why I'm tearing up. This isn't a sad song, but it's so sweet. And her voice is like just doing these really light, airy vocals, and again, like there's just like this slight reverb on them that it's softening out all the edges on it. I'm not gonna make it through this. The bass is carrying me through. Oh my god, I love all the vocals there, like the layered vocals there. But also I've always dreamed of becoming a diary belonging only to, just a diary belonging only to us. Okay, even if it's just all day long of I want to just be with you, hug me, hold my hand, say you love me. I'd be content with that. Why is this song so sweet? Why is it so cute? Why is it so sweet? Why is it dreamy? I told you, Geo songs come for me in a way that I didn't expect, okay? They're so sweet and comforting that I'm not ready. Oh. I was saying but the cute lyrics, and then you're just like, I'm gonna do a little vocal run here. Don't distract me with the like trivial habits that become ingrained somehow. We make each other smile. I'm fine. This is totally okay. For real though, how do I get someone to talk to me like this? I'm getting that lower tone from her. And the higher tone from Bami. Just Guyan. I gotta go back. I don't know why her vocals are wrecking me this time. There's so many vocal tracks layered on. The in the back. We get like a musical interlude. They're having so much fun with the guitars on this album too. I can't with this, okay? Because they're doing every kind of genre just because they can. Guyan's vocals are wrecking me. I don't know what that's about. Because at what point do I not have a bias line anymore? You know what I mean? I'm struggling already. I don't need the magne to come for me. Also, I'm feeling like storyline wise, right? I feel like this is a triumphant escape. Does that make sense? Chronologically, because happened of there was a toxic relationship, right? And then we escaped with the airplane. We escaped, we got away, we got to just go off and have fun. Little vacation, right? More like metaphorically, but it felt like a vacation because you were like finally free. You could finally like breathe and feel like you could be anywhere, right? Like you're no longer trapped, caged. You're out of that cycle, even though there's still some dark imagery mixed in with it because like you're not just like fine after going through that kind of experience, right? There's always going to be some kind of recovery from that, which is I think is when we get into Whistle, right? Which is like you found people who actually care about you, who you actually feel that connection with. And it doesn't mean that you're like free from that darkness, free from dealing with all of the ramifications of having been in that kind of relationship or been in that kind of headspace. And then this feels like I don't know, like the euphoria of actually feeling love. What love is, right? Is loving the trivial things, right? The trivial things make you smile. That's what makes the people that you care about just wanting to be in proximity to someone all the time, right? Maybe it's just like my introverted self, but the people that I care about are the ones that I can just exist in proximity with, right? We're not doing stuff together, but we like to be in the same room as each other, like within eyesight of each other, just because there's something comforting about knowing that person is around, even though you're not directly interacting or doing something specifically together. And just the dreaminess of this song is just, it feels like your head in the clouds, you're giddy with thinking about this person, and you're just like trying to figure out ways of like how to be with that person, or every time you're not with them, you're having like the expectation of getting to see them later on and stuff. So it feels like this progression from something very toxic and twisted into actually finding something that is, and it doesn't necessarily have to be love in a romantic way, right? It can be in a platonic way. It can be like finding friends who care about you, rebuilding relationships with family, or having found family, or having fans that you're interacting with that are reconnecting with their fans after going through all of the darker times that came before, right? It can be all of these different kinds of love and compassion for other people, and knowing what that actual feeling is, where it isn't controlling, it isn't possessive, it isn't sporadic, it's actually feeling this peace, this at ease with your life, of you wanting to be around that person, you being able to find that feeling of ease and comfort while being in their proximity, right? And the guitars are funky, the bass is just going off through this whole song. I'm gonna listen to this song so much. It's gonna get so much many streams for me. I just feel good. We're not even done the song yet. So many vocal layers. gorgeous, that back and forth. I feel like I need several moments. That song just feels good. It's optimistic. It's fun. It feels like walking around on a sunny day. I feel like it is city pop. It feels like walking around in like a city, sunny day, no plans, with someone that you care about. Maybe you're window shopping. Maybe you're just walking around the shoreline. I live somewhere there's a lot of water, so maybe you're just enjoying birds and gazing at clouds and just enjoying that feeling. And it very much, again, lots of imagery of light specifically, which I think is fascinating for all of the imagery that Dreamcatcher has had up to this point in their albums of darkness and dreams and nightmare and night and even cosmic imagery, right? Like there's no light in space. So all of these moments of embracing the darkness, finding comfort in that darkness, solitude in it, and then having this be about light and sunshine and even sunsets, and having this flooding of light and joy and optimism is really interesting to me. The progression of them as a group going all the way from Nightmare to this moment. And obviously there's darker tones in some of their songs coming up because I have listened to a lot of those albums, but it's fascinating to see the, I don't know, almost like burst of joy after everything that's happened, and that they can finally do concerts, do fan meets, do normal promotion stuff. All the members are here making and creating music all together, and knowing that you're going to get to promote it one-to-one or face-to-face with fans and the people that you care about must be just bursting through into the music that they're creating. But I do think maybe we have this progression of escaping a toxic environment and figuring out what it actually means to have someone care about you. Saying, say you love me, not in a needing the actual reassurance, but in not in a manipulative way, right? But in a, I just want to hear you say it again, right? You know what I mean? I just want to hear you say it over and over again, like all day, right? It's so, my smiling so much. My face hurts from it because it's such a sweet song, and I knew it was going to get me if I'm right. And Gio wrote some of it because she always gets me. All right, we got the darker pictures, which does make me slightly worried, because what are we doing to end off this album? Are you going to make me cry? Are you going to rip my heart out? It's 4 minutes. Are we going to groove our way through? We're going to stay optimistic? I never trust the final songs. A Heart of Sunflower makes me think maybe good. Sun again, light imagery coming in as well. I don't know. Oh God, it's going to be a ballad. I already teared up in the last song.
어떤 말을 해야 할지 난 헤어짐을 얘기할지 다른 누군가를 바라보는 네가 난 너무나도 미워져 내 곁에서 점점 멀어지는 게 난 느껴지는데 왜 아무 말도 할 수 없는지 시간은 날 이제 그만두라 하지만 네 생각에 눈물 흘린 오늘 하루마저
Dang it! You are gonna rip my heart out. I just feel like the piano and starting with Geo vocals is not fair, okay? That is not playing fair. Also, who hurt you? I just want to talk. I swear. I'm not sure what we're doing. Goodbye. Does this go against my theory? I guess it doesn't necessarily go against my theory of finding what actual love is, because it doesn't mean that it lasts, right? And that's why it hurts. That's why there's pain there, is that it isn't escaping something that you feel yourself trapped in, like we would have, because it's instead something that was good and wonderful and you wanted to keep it, but you don't get to control that person, right? You don't get to possess them. You don't get to choose whether or not they love you back, or how they love you, or whether or not they want to continue to have you in their life. And I need you to not break my heart. The last song just restored my faith in love of all kinds, and I'm not ready for y'all to take that from me. is also unfair for you to have Yuhyun and Jian back to back with those gorgeous light vocals and their vibrato, because every time their vibrato comes in when they're singing a ballad, it breaks my heart. And I just... Yuhyun on a ballad, her and Handang will be the death of me.
네 생각에 눈물 흘린 오늘 하루마저 난 이렇게 널 사랑하고 있어 분명 우리의 추억 나에게 너무 소중한데
Her voice is too pretty.
네가 내 손 잡아줄 수 있다면 돌아올 때까지 오래 걸려도 좋아.
I'm like holding hands, like the only option is like through memory.
궁금했어 난 잘 지내는지 아프진 않은지 왜 아무 말도 안 해준 건지 시간은 날 여기 머무르라 하지만
Oh, those drums coming in.
내 마음은 다시 그곳 그대로 돌아가
Oh, not you like swell it up with the vocals and also the production. All right, I'm fine. Okay, this is okay. Okay, coherent thoughts. Besides the fact that, God, Dreamcatcher on a ballad. I know their vocals are good. I get it. There's just something about them on a ballad that just, I just gotta sit here in stunned silence because it's too beautiful. Anyway, I find it interesting that we have these memories and trying to hold on to something that isn't there anymore. This very much feels like it's fine, you can go. And I'm stuck waiting here, right? Staying in a place in case that person returns, in case they come back to you, right? Or wanting to return to a place. And we had that because it was very much this, oh, you'll return to me. I don't have to worry about you saying that you'll leave right now. Eventually our paths will cross again. Like, it's not, this is over because I haven't said so yet, right? Like the possessiveness of that. Then going into Airplane of, I have to still carry my memories with me, even though I'm going on a vacation. That's still something that I have to carry along. Then Whistle being very much, I want to go back to that moment of being the warmth that I left in the sand, having you hold me. I want to go back to that time. And then even All Day Long being this like wanting to keep that moment, right? Keep this moment and be like, stay with me this whole time, the whole day, right? I want us to get to keep this moment. And then now this feels very much, I want to keep that, but I also understand that it's a memory, right? And I can't get it back. I don't get to recreate that. At least I don't get to force the recreation of that memory. I can keep that memory. I can hold on to it. I can use that as comfort. But at what point does that become being stuck there, right? At what point is that not moving on? At what point is it, I should keep moving because I can't just stay here and wait for you to come back? God, they always rip my heart out with their ballads. They just get me. The lyrics that they put in them. Let's swell up. Too beautiful. Suwa. Hey, on this album. I need everybody to leave me alone. Everybody leave me alone. We had the disappearing image again. Gayan's vocals on this album wrecking me. Don't know what that's about. It's not like I've never not liked her vocals. She's always been great. She came for me already with the rapper version. Don't know why she got a flex on me in this one. I know my bias list is in shambles. thank you, ma'am. And then like she got like the deeper tone, and then she just went for it. I love how the ad-lib vocal run part, she lightened it up. Like it wasn't like this big strong moment, because that's not what this song needs. Like this song isn't about being strong. This song is about being vulnerable, of being lonely, of feeling broken and trying to sweep up the pieces and hold on to it as long as you can, even though it's futile. Like you can't put it back together. You're just holding the pieces, and it hurts to stay in that place, and yet you don't want to let go of the memory of when it worked, when it was whole, when it was good, and you keep hoping that you can just go back, or that the person will return and that you get to have that moment again. But it does feel like this, like accepting your own hurt and being like, it's okay if it takes a while for you to come back. Like it's okay to, I don't know, like it's like this letting go and accepting that if you love something, set it free, and if it loves you back, it'll come back. It's this feeling of, I know I can't cage you here, going back to the bird cage imagery of, I know I can't just stick you in a cage and keep you. I have to let you be free, and if you choose to come back, that's okay. If it takes you a long time, that's okay. Don't think that because a huge passage of time has happened that you can't come back, that there won't be a place here for you, because the memories are precious to me, and even if it can't be the same thing, it's still okay for you to come back. Even all by myself, after like all day long of being with someone and just what cry she put in? That drum fill, that upper harmony.
정말 바보같이 나는 너만을
All right, fine. Leave me a crying wreck. Break my heart and walk away. That's okay. Fine. I was already crying because of the until you remember. It's okay, even if it takes a long time. It's like I was saying before, don't think because a long time has passed that you can't come back. Don't think that this is like burning bridges, because that isn't necessarily the case, right? And that even like, or even remember me, you think of me, or even remember me. And then we got this, and I was like, okay, fine, break my heart with Yuyeon. And the note that she hit doesn't have this conclusion again. It feels cut off. It feels, again, this like open door of, if you ever feel like returning, doors open, right? I was expecting us to play out with the music, and then they just had to give me one more stab in my heart before they left. That's fine. Whatever. So I just scrolled down to the comments of A Heart of Sunflower, and someone said that in the Korean, the last line with Yuyeon, it cuts off before the verb, which means that the verb could be love, but she couldn't say it. That's why it's cut off at the end. And now I just want to scream into the void, because what do you mean? I didn't know we were getting a K-drama. I didn't know you were going to give me all day long and restore my faith in love and make me feel so comforted and like sentimental and like the world made sense, and they were going to rip it out of my grasp the very next second. I don't know what to do with this album, okay? They did every genre they possibly could think of. It was funky. There was so much bass in this. It might become my favorite album just on that alone, because I was already like, I am obsessed with this song. It's just a master class in narrative through song. I was already in it, and now you're going to give me an album that has a bunch of fun, dynamic, different instrumentation, funky guitar riffs, tons of bass heavy moments, incredible vocals from all of them, every different tone, lower, darker tones, higher falsetto, angelic tones, bright poppy, forward placement sounds. You're gonna give me all of the Dami vocals I could possibly want. You're gonna give me Gayeon just wrecking me with her vocals. You're gonna rip my heart out with every time that Yuyeon opens her mouth. Xian's gonna be doing all of it. Sua, I don't even want to talk about her getting into her lower range and all of that, her darker tones. Handong on a ballad is always dangerous. Duo, starting a ballad with nothing but piano and duo is actually criminal. That is an act of violence, and I am not appreciative of it. And I just don't know what to do with myself after that. I don't know how to process what I've been through. And maybe that's the point. Maybe that's where I'm supposed to be with them of I don't know what to do now. But it does feel like if we're going to have some kind of overarching narrative, it does very much feel like this, not being like finding yourself in this toxic relationship, right? Like having this song that is from this perspective of this toxic person who's like wrecking what what love or like relationship is for you, like what your dynamics with other people are. And then having this moment of freedom of just go, just escape, just fly away and get as far away as you can into seclusion, and then getting into rediscovering what love is, but also in this almost frantic, panicked, how do I keep this thing that I have found because it's precious and I don't want to slide back into toxicity or like my previous experiences with it. Oh God, I don't know how to be in a relationship that doesn't have that power dynamic to it. How do I deal with being in a relationship that is actually healthy and functional, and how do I do that when I'm still a person who has been in a toxic relationship? Like, how do you move forward with that experience into new relationships and have it work, right? So there's this kind of like frantic feeling to that song, and then getting into All Day Long of, oh, this is what it is, right? This is what actually being in a healthy, loving relationship, this is what love feels like. This is what that experience is, and being so like almost like drunk on that feeling, the euphoria of that feeling, and just wanting to stay in it forever, and then getting to the point where that person doesn't feel the same way, like the relationship doesn't work out. Just because you've found a loving relationship and you actually know what that like healthy relationship is, doesn't mean that it lasts forever, right? It doesn't mean that you get to continue to be in a relationship with that person, because if they don't feel the same way as you, that's it, right? Building a relationship is two ways, right? You don't get to force it, which is what Because was, right? That was very much a one-sided, unequal power dynamic of I get to control you, I get to own you, I get to decide what this relationship is going to be. And getting into an actual healthy relationship is accepting the fact that you don't get to choose how the other person feels. You don't get to choose their decisions. You don't get to choose whether or not they're in your life. And getting into the last song of, I guess I just have to figure out how to be okay with this, because you don't feel the same way. And if you ever do, doors open, I'll be here. But there's also like such a heartbreaking feeling to that of not being able to move on and being like, I know that I should. I know that time is telling me that I need to leave this place. I need to move on, but I can't, because the memories are too precious. There's too much hope there of maybe someday. And I wasn't expecting a whole K-drama. That wasn't what I was expecting to sign up for with this, especially something that sounds like Summer Holiday. I'm like, yeah, fun, summery, bops, sunshine, beaches, right? And instead I got every emotion on the possible spectrum, and I don't know what to do now. That's where I'm at after all that. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, because I'm sure that there are things that I missed and other people have different thoughts and opinions on that. But I hope you enjoyed listening to that along with me. You can click this playlist to go and see my previous reactions, or you can subscribe so you miss next time I post a Dreamcatcher reaction. I will see you in the next video. Bye.